Hey there and welcome back to your benefit, buddy. It's July. While most Americans were busy watching fireworks and celebrating Independence Day, something much quieter, but potentially more important, just happened in Washington, D.C. If you're on Social Security, this is one update you can't afford to miss. Former President Donald Trump has officially signed what's now being referred to as the One Big Beautiful Bill, and buried inside that legislation is a new policy that could change how much tax you owe on your benefits when next tax season rolls around. Now, I know your July check probably looks the same as it did last month, but make no mistake, this change is real, it's active, and for many of you, it could mean more money in your pocket. That said, there are a few important catches and conditions attached, so stay with me, because I'll break it down step by step. Before we dive too far in, I want to ask you something important. Have you noticed any recent changes in your benefits or interactions with the Social Security Administration? Maybe your check arrived late, or perhaps you had an unusually fast or frustrating call with SSA. Whatever your experience has been, share it in the comments below. Your story might help someone else who's going through the exact same thing. If you find value in staying informed without having to dig through government websites and legal documents yourself, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Your benefit buddy is here every week with updates that matter without all the noise. Let's start by going over the July 2025 Social Security payment schedule, because that's one of the most common questions we get. If you're receiving Supplemental Security Income, or SSI, your payment for July should have already arrived on Tuesday, July 1st. That's because SSI always pays on the 1st of the month, unless that date falls on a weekend or federal holiday. Now, if you're someone who receives both SSI and regular Social Security, or if your benefits started before May of 1997, your monthly Social Security check was scheduled for Thursday, July 3rd. For everyone else, meaning your Social Security started after May 1997, your payment date depends on your birthday. If your birthday falls between the 1st and 10th of the month, your check is scheduled for Wednesday, July 9th. If your birthday is between the 11th and 20th, look out for your payment on Wednesday. It's July 16th. And if you were born between the 21st and 31st, expect your money on Wednesday, July 23rd. For those with direct deposit, your payment usually arrives in the early morning, sometimes before you're even awake. But if you're still getting paper checks in the mail, allow a few extra days, especially if your mailing address or banking info recently changed. Now, let's get into what the One Big Beautiful Bill actually does, because there's a lot of misinformation floating around. One of the big promises you might have heard is that the bill eliminates taxes on Social Security benefits, but that's not entirely accurate. What the bill really does is introduce a new tax deduction for seniors. If you're 65 or older, you now qualify for a standard deduction of $6,000 if you're filing single, or $12,000 if you're filing jointly with your spouse. That means when tax season rolls around in 2026 for this year's earnings, you'll be able to reduce your taxable income by that amount. And for many people living on a fixed income, this will be enough to either lower your taxes significantly or eliminate them altogether. In fact, early estimates suggest that around 88% of Social Security recipients will now pay either no federal tax on their benefits or much less than they did before. However, this doesn't mean the tax system itself is being rewritten. The existing formula that determines whether your Social Security benefits are taxable is still in place. That formula includes not just your Social Security income, but also any other money you earn from pensions, retirement accounts, rental income, or part-time work. The new deduction simply lowers your overall adjusted gross income on paper, which might push you out of the taxable bracket. But if you have other sources of income, you may still owe taxes, so don't assume your next return will be zero without checking the numbers. And also, keep in mind that most tax software, and even some tax professionals, may not have updated their systems to reflect this new deduction yet. So when the time comes to file, make sure your preparer is familiar with the new rules or verify everything through the IRS or SSAS official website. Now here's where it gets complicated, because this new deduction is expected to lower the amount of federal tax revenue collected from seniors. It could have an impact on the long-term health of the Social Security Trust Fund. According to a revised forecast by the Congressional Budget Office, this change could accelerate the timeline for when the trust fund runs dry, moving the estimated date of insolvency from 2033 to 2032. That might not sound urgent right now. For those who are younger or planning to rely on Social Security in the future, it raises serious questions. Former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers recently warned that this move is like poking new holes in a bucket that's already leaking. On the flip side, many argue that seniors deserve tax relief just like every other American, especially when they've already paid into the system for decades. So the debate continues. While we're talking about changes, one issue that still hasn't gone away is the problem of Social Security overpayments. Earlier this year, many recipients received notices from the SSA claiming they were overpaid, and some even had their full monthly check withheld without warning. After a lot of backlash, the agency updated its policy. Now, they are not allowed to take more than 50% of your monthly benefit unless you explicitly give them permission. If you do get one of those letters, don't ignore it. You have the right to appeal the decision, request a waiver, or ask for a payment plan that won't leave you financially stranded. The earlier you respond, the more options you'll have. Another issue many of you are facing is longer wait times when trying to get through to the Social Security office, whether by phone or in person. Part of this is due to staff shortages, but it's also tied to the SSA's rollout of new artificial intelligence systems under the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE. These systems are supposed to make things faster in the long run, but right now the transition is causing more delays in many areas. Some people have reported waiting on hold for over an hour or not getting a call back for several weeks. If you're stuck waiting, one of the fastest ways to get answers is to log into your My Social Security account online. And here's something else to be aware of. If you've reapplying for retirement or survivor benefits in person rather than online, new ID verification rules have gone into effect. These were introduced back in April as part of a nationwide fraud prevention campaign. So if you're planning an in-person visit, be prepared to show additional forms of identification, like a passport or utility bills with your name and address. This rule does not apply to Medicare or SSDI applications, but it has caught quite a few people by surprise, so I wanted to give you a heads up. Also, congratulations are in order if you were born in 1960. You've officially reached full retirement age this year, which means you can now claim your Social Security benefits without facing any reductions. You can still choose to delay claiming if you want to boost your monthly amount, but 67 is the new full retirement age as defined by SSA guidelines. So what should you be doing this month to stay ahead? First, double-check your payment date based on your birth date or benefit type. Make sure your bank and mailing information are up to date to avoid any delays. Second, understand that the new tax deduction won't change how much you receive each month, but it could significantly lower what you owe when tax season arrives. Third, if you receive an overpayment notice or are facing long wait times, use the online portal at ssa.gov to check your status or file appeals faster. And finally, keep track of all these changes by subscribing to your Benefit Buddy. We're committed to helping you navigate every twist and turn coming out of Washington without making it overly complicated. Leave a comment below and let us know, did your July check arrive on time? You seeing more issues, or has something actually improved for you recently? Sometimes the most helpful advice comes from real people, not press releases. If this video helped you understand what's changing, give it a like so more people can find it. We'll be tracking every update, from tax bills to Medicare reform and beyond. Take care, stay informed, and I'll see you again real soon.